Okay, we're live on YouTube. Amazing. Cool. Welcome to the JetBrains weekly sync, JetBrains plugin, September 20th. First agenda item is from my side. Basically, we closed this epic, or I guess issue actually recently, which was like the snowplow telemetry MVC issue. And that was actually what had been set as the exit criteria for Namansbaro. And I wanted to confirm, I wrote this up a few days ago. I wanted to confirm that whether we are good on the telemetry MVC, and if we are, then kind of obviously thank Naman and wish him farewell. But if we're not, like understand what's missing here, because I wanted to be very clear on like whether we've reached the intended goal. Because as far as I understand, we have not turned it on yet because we have some missing fields, right? And I'm just curious, I guess, like, hello there. I'm curious, like Ali, I guess maybe you or you and I don't know who's best to answer this. If the remaining work there before we enable the telemetry, if that's parallelizable at all, or if it's more like needs reviews. Yeah, so that's my.
I've been thinking about this over the past day. I think it's not parallelizable. So what we have right now is we've instrumented all the events, except for that new one that's like suggestion not provided. I created an issue for that yesterday, but that one should be pretty straightforward. I think the problem with the remaining work is that it touches a lot of the same areas of the code. So if multiple people were to work on it together, we would run into tons of merge conflicts. But I do think we're pretty close. Like the work that's left is relatively small and straightforward. I don't think we can make the 22nd as someone asked in Slack, but
Yeah.
depending on how reviews go, hopefully next week we can try and wrap up that epic, except for I think suggestion requested or rejected and the other one, which we're waiting for JetBrains to release a new IDE for.
Yeah, gotcha. I think that makes sense. Then maybe it's more of a matter of like making sure that Naman you're available for like reviews more so than actual development on what's left here. Because again, we do intend to keep people who have been working on this as maintainers anyway, but maybe that's like the main thing. Because yeah, like you said, Ali, if it's just gonna create just more conflicts and kind of like, you know, touching the same parts of the code base, I get that. So that doesn't sound like would be a very efficient thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with you there that if Naman is available for the rest of the telemetry reviews, I'm gonna keep handing those over to him since he has the context on what's going on there.
I mean, I'm okay to be available, and if you want, I can be around for a week and then I can move to pages. That is also one option. Both is available.
Yeah, I think then it sounds good. I think then maybe it's I would phrase it this way from what I'm hearing here. Like Naman, we do need you to be available for like the next week, basically. But essentially for review purposes to make sure that those are going along smoothly and flowly. I don't think, and maybe there's an odd issue here and there that you can pick up very fast, like that's kind of unrelated to this, but maybe if there is one, sure, I guess, but if not, that's not a big deal. I think the main thing we want to get now is telemetry. That's really the most important thing. So as long as you can enable those reviews, I think that's maybe good enough at this point. And then if we're hopefully we're in a good shape next week to actually enable it, and then we can more officially kind of say yes, Naman, you're all good to go back to pages. Does that sound good?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
I can take some of the issues that are in backlog, not related to telemetry around it, and if there are any discussions going on, I can be a part of that.
Cool, awesome. Great, that sounds good. So, and by the way, about this, I created this extra issue that just says like enable telemetry, just so I could have like a visual mark of like what's blocking us to enable, like which are the specific issues and which ones are not. Right now, I only put two there, the UUID thing and the contexts, right? The code suggestion ID extension. Are those the only ones that are blocking this, or is there more stuff from that epic?
My question to you related to that, I'm just pulling up the epic right now. I added a few issues to the epic yesterday. Those two are definitely blocking. Then we have support JetBrains proxy configurations and snowplow collector. My question is, do we need that initially or can that wait? I think the consequence of not having that is we won't get telemetry events from users who are using the proxy.
Will we throw an error like that pops the console open, right? Because that's what JetBrains does. If you catch an error in a plugin, right, it pops the big exception.
That's a good
box up.
question. I guess we'd have to test it out. But if we have to test it out, we may as well do it. I have a draft MR with a rough implementation done already, so I may as well just take that to the finish line instead of testing out what happens when we don't support it.
Yeah, I would say just do it. Given most of the JetBrains customers I have talked to all run proxy configurations.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good to know.
It's probably worth it just to do it. Yeah, corporate environments are wild. So, yes.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Then I'll mark that
Um,
one as blocking as well, so that we know it's there. And what about the other two ones, like the suggested not provided and
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that and then implement remaining events.
this one?
That
No, right?
one will be not implemented. That one's blocked by JetBrains releasing a new
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, gotcha. So okay, so that's fair. And the
So we
not-
have 4 blocking issues right now.
Yeah, I did not provided thing. I mean, no, I guess. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I would just enable it even if we don't have this one, but like for example, we don't even have it on VS Code, but VS Code has telemetry implemented, right? Or
Okay,
was it
yeah,
added?
let's make that not blocking then. That sounds good.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, whatever can be delayed, that means that we can enable telemetry sooner, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
more we delay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I
Then,
think the only thing that's safe to delay is the not provided. I think everything else is gotta go.
Sounds good.
cool, awesome. Thanks. Then that clarifies everything. That's great. Yeah, Ali, you're on the next point, I guess, about what you're currently up to.
Yeah, I think I covered this, but I currently have an MR in review to add UUID to telemetry events. And next up is adding the custom context. I guess not provided, that can wait, but the proxy issue I'll work on before enabling snowplow.
That's good. Yeah, sounds great. I think I also, by the way, I created this dashboard. I haven't added panels for JetBrains just yet because there are no events anyway, but I will add them so that once we do have this enabled, we can also see the events coming in. Because something that happened with Visual Studio is we thought we enabled it. Well, we did enable it last week, but the events weren't actually coming through, and we didn't notice because there was like a mismatch with the schema requirements. So we'll want to make sure once we enable it that we actually look if they're there or not.
Is
in the
there a
various
link to
lists.
that dashboard?
Yes. Let me paste it here. 1 second.
I mean, do we have our test options where we can just enable for internal purpose and see if it's working properly? So that parallelly we can check if it's working whenever we are enabling it. It is available. It is giving a proper result. Or we
Only
can wipe out old data if we enable it right now.
I think what you could do is you could test sending to the production snowplow instance, and we'd have to ask Asti to check the raw data layer.
Yeah.
The way the data layer works is like it goes to the snowplow collector service, and then it takes like 24, potentially 48 hours for it to actually show up in anything that like the rest of us have access to. So Asti can query the raw layer for us.
Yes,
I mean,
he is.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it now and wait till the weekend. And if we have option of deleting those data so that just test data is available and we know that our data is getting properly
That's what you mean. I think we don't need to do that because the thing is, because we're missing those feel like the point is we're going to make changes by then, which might make them invalid again. So I think we might as well just like think, okay, we did everything we thought we should do. Let's turn it on now and just see what happens. Because yeah, we can ask Basti to look at the raw thing, which is pretty much real time, and then we'll just correct based on that. And it's okay. I think that'll be probably most efficient to just sort of test and prod, kind of. That's
One
fine.
thing that would be nice to get support on right before we turn on Snowplow is I can collect some sample events using the Snowplow micro local collector, and maybe someone can look at that and make sure that it looks correct. Whoever's responsible for the schema and stuff like that. Basti's team, I guess.
Yeah, I would ping Basti to look at it. I don't think we have a reviewer outside of that who's not on vacation right now.
So I spent my whole day looking at these JSON files as well, so I'm happy to also have a look.
Sure, yeah, I'll just post it in the Slack and I'll tag a few people.
Yeah, I have been
Just to
called a
get some
human
quick
parser before.
validation before we do our release next week.
Yeah, that sounds good, sure. Yeah. So yeah, I think then just like tag Basti and myself
Sounds good.
for that. Sweet. Speaking of schemas, my next question was, how are we tracking which schema version of the events are currently implemented? Because I noticed I had a brief look, but I didn't see any trace of like the schemas themselves being imported. So are we just recreating them manually? Because I noticed in the language server there, I think we're using the Snowplow SDK or something that kind of generates this based on the schema. So like, what's the deal here?
I opened a draft MR yesterday. I'm just pulling it up right now. Just gonna throw the link in there. Yeah, I think I'm using the latest version of both of them, so we are importing the schemas, so that's for ID extension version, it's 100, and for code suggestion context, it's 201.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay, it's great that we're importing them. I guess it's because it's in an MR that I was just looking at just the main branch, so I missed this one. Okay, sounds great. So that's good because again, we also noticed on the language server we're actually behind. We're on 100, I think. But so yeah, my next question, which was like, which version do we want to support? I mean, I think it should be the latest, and it sounds like that's the one we will be supporting anyway. So yeah, that's all good. Cool. All right, sounds like we have a plan. Is there more things to discuss from anyone?
I have a one question. I mean, for the reducing number of requests for code suggestions, there have been discussions going on, and we implemented some of them. But right now, for the issue that is already open, some of them are marked as do not. We don't have to work on that. So, are we having any other issue where we discuss if we should reduce number of suggestions based on some discussion or anything?
I think it's just that epic. So it is a little bit messy. Well, not messy, but a little bit fluid, I guess. So it's kind of, I crossed out one of them, for example, because I knew we didn't want to do that anymore. The other ones are still good to go. If they're all been done already on JetBrains, then I guess at this point would be like, yeah, unless you come up with also ideas, like literally, like you might have ideas and want to try that out and implement it. Like we're very much open to that. So this is like, no one knows what they're doing, so like we're very open to suggestions and ideas here. But otherwise, yeah.
There was one request from the Eduardo that he suggested that we have option of manually triggering the code suggestion instead of directly on every request sending the data for a code suggestion. I mean, I found it a good option to reduce number of requests, but in that case, user has to manually do it. So it is an extra effort that user has to do.
Yes, that's on this because I think like I like this one, but it's obviously it's a fundamental change in how the actual product works. So I feel like it's a more difficult one to just like, oh, let's do it and ship it and see how it works. I think we probably would want to be more thoughtful about this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've had discussions around like keyboard shortcuts to turn it on and off or manually trigger a little bit. I am hesitant to do anything that puts this back in user control yet, only because the service is still so naively new that like we risk like teaching users that this is how it works. And the reason I think it's such a prevalent thing that people want in terms of control right now, or that certain people have asked for multiple times, is because we have like a quality bar that's not where people expect it. And so they find it more annoying than not annoying. And then so they feel like they want control over it because it's not helpful, right? But if the tool is helpful, then your desire for control starts to like slide back the other way, but you'll never get there if we coach you now that like this is the way to do it. And so that's the hesitancy. There's a thread in like some other epic about designing your own prompt or not, sort of the opinion that like if you have to design the prompt, then the tool's not that valuable for you either. Like you may as well go do something else. And so like those are like I think the things we have to figure out how we want to balance, right? There is a balance to be struck. But I think given where we are today, like we shouldn't try and build a tool around the power user today. We should be trying to build like naive functionality and then seeing what we can enhance in the future.
Okay.
So that's sort of the approach that I'm trying to like maintain there.
Okay. For prompt, we can have it as a part of a chat rather than having an option of in code.
I agree. I think chat is the likely place that those kinds of things where you want to craft your own prompt end up, because if you want to give it context that you're looking for test or that you want it to do certain things, like chat is a more appropriate use case than like helping you write in the flow of the code you're writing.
Yeah. And also I saw one of the in Slack channel, someone posted that they have recorded a video where they are writing the comments and it is giving a suggestion. It is a kind of that option only, that we user write a comment and they get a suggestion of the code creation. So that is one of the option that is already there.
Yep.
So we can push that idea of you write the prompt, then it will give the suggestion as one of the code creation part.
By the way, that video, I think it's the one Vitaly recorded about the like it's in Go, I think, right, with the comments and the generation. It could be interesting. That's the one that we had to revert for Visual Studio because we had added a tweak where if you were just in a comment, we wouldn't trigger suggestions because at this point in time they were just terrible. But now they're good, so we want to make sure that does work. It could be worth making sure that it does work on JetBrains today, for example, just to like kind of safety check. So like literally maybe the same example, type the same comment, see sort of what happens, if it's any good, or if it's, because that would be an important one to notice otherwise.
It does work in JetBrains, so there is
Okay.
no restriction of not sending a suggestion for comments.
Okay, great. That's good.
That's it from my end.
Cool. All right, then if there's no further topics, thanks everyone for